doesn't love a close relative? Imagine what it is like to be alone, without a supportive family member. Just like John Lennon's song, Imagine. Think about what people can do to you, and imagine if they weren't there. Think about what a family can do to you, and how they impact on your life, especially a grandmother. My grandmother Pauline was so inspiring. I loved her so much, and I still do. I used to walk to her house almost every weekend when I was young. She knew everything about me, for though I was her granddaughter. In her kitchen, she always had a salver filled with my favorite confectionery, a saccharine vanilla Tootsie Roll, and her countenance would glow as I ate the petite pearly treat. Every time my mother, my sisters, and I would visit her, she would quote, "You've made my day." I miss those meaningful days, those memorable days. My grandmother Pauline was so empowering. I'd only known her for 9 years, but somehow counseled myself to build a limited bond. Little did I know it would only last about 5 years. I didn't know what could go wrong. Every night for 3 years straight, I would ask, "Will my Grandma Pauline visit me when I'm older?" Of course I was only ages 4 to 7, not knowing what I was thinking. I thought she would last forever, kind of like a rock. With few changes, she would always be the same, Pauline Martins. Years have passed. I am now 9 years old. Things have become better and worse. I remember every nick of time that has passed through the memorable years. My family members would constantly notify me my grandmother Pauline was getting old and might forget things. It never came across my mind that she'd forget me. I wouldn't believe what my family had to say about her, thinking they were just trying to mess with me, because my grandma Pauline was so intelligent. I got to visit my grandmother Pauline a week before Mother's Day, 2014. She seemed so depressed and unminded. She was crying. She was looking for her past mother. She had been sent to an elder group home. She was cemented in a wheelchair and couldn't remember where her mom was. She didn't have a clue who I was. I started sobbing, realizing the woman who empowered me, supported me, loved me, and inspired me was not able to trace a clue who I was, and not only me, but most of my family, including her children. 1 week has passed. I am still 9. I had to sleep over at my Grandma Mary's house. That night at dusk, we bought our Grandma Pauline a Mother's Day card. It described how much we adored her and how much we loved her, thinking we would be able to deliver to her in the morning. It's 7 a.m. I wake up. I thought that something was wrong. I was faint and grim inside. I couldn't figure out the missing piece in me. The telephone rang. I had no idea who was calling and no clue what the number was. My grandmother Mary picks up. Moments later, she hangs up. I had a gut feeling that something had happened to one of my loved ones. Maybe it was my sweet Grandma Pauline. Maybe she has passed or taken in the arms of God. I didn't know, but I knew something was wrong. I asked my Grandma Mary, "Grandmother, Grandma Pauline, something bad happened. She's dead, isn't she?" Grandma Mary answered, "I am so sorry that she has passed." Tears started to run down my face. Then it escalated to where I poured tears out of my eyes, as a waterfall would rush. I realized part of me has come to an end. I couldn't figure out who I could look up to. For though my Grandma Pauline was the one who inspired me most, I quickly ran into the spare room. I was completely aghast. I'm no longer crying, thinking it was a dream. I'm in denial. I pinch myself. I hear my grandmother weeping. Then I again remember the tragedy that had occurred. It was no lie. It was all truth. I cried the entire day until I ran out of tears, restocked my tears, and cried even more. I called my best friend Shelby. I was still weeping. She asked, "River, why are you crying? Tell me, what happened? What happened?" I respond, My grandmother Pauline. She's passed." I mumbled and stuttered on my words. This brief silence occurs. She tells me she is so sorry about the occurrence. I cried even more, recalling the time my grandmother had given me a dollop of Blue Bunny ice cream, and we enjoyed the creamy substance together. Or the time I visited her in the hospital, and she showed me a puzzle she had put together. Or even the time I colored in the lines on a blank piece of scrap paper. Ever since my grandmother Pauline has passed, I've been having dreams of her and I having so much fun together. I realize that since she has passed away, I've become more aware of my surroundings. I'm more affectionate. I realize how to spend my time wisely and use it at its best moments. I have changed in a positive manner. I'm more grown up. I'm more respectful. I was inspired and empowered, all because of my grandmother, Pauline Martins.